For now, we begin with the very latest on President Trump's tariffs, which after months of back and forths are set to take full effect tomorrow. Later this afternoon, President Trump will be signing executive orders setting higher tariffs for countries who have not yet reached trade deals with the U.S., which will include several key trading partners, as the administration says. It has only reached agreements with a few major partners, including those you see here, including what it calls a framework with China. But it has still yet to announce deals with major partners like Mexico, Canada, Brazil, Taiwan, India. The president giving an update on at least one of those countries, posting on Truth Social saying he's giving Mexico another 90 days to reach a deal, holding the current tariffs for fentanyl, cars, and metals while they continue to iron out that deal. And so far, the stock market holding strong as these tariffs loom, despite continued uncertainty about what tariffs will be implemented. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is set to hold a briefing in about an hour. She is sure to be pressed on exactly what will be implemented tomorrow. We'll bring that to you live. But in the meantime, News Nation's Libby Dean will be inside the room for that press briefing. Right now, she is outside of the White House tracking the very latest on these trade deals. Libby.
Nichole, the tariff deadline, it strikes at midnight, and this time around, the president has been adamant that there will be no extensions despite this recent extension that he has now announced for Mexico. But come this time tomorrow, tariffs on a slate of foreign goods will take effect on a number of countries. You just listed some of them. But the latest deal, the latest announcement from President Trump came from this phone call between President Trump and Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum. Trump says Mexico will face the same tariff rate it has since he announced it last. That's a 25% overall tariff, a 50% tariff on steel, aluminum, and copper. Now, Trump says these talks, they're going to continue, and then a more formalized trade deal will likely come between the U.S. and Mexico. That will likely come within the next 90 days. That's all according to the president, who just posted this on social media. Now, so far, we know the president has announced these trade deals with the EU, Japan, Indonesia, the Philippines, South Korea, the UK, Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia. That's just a few of those deals that have been struck. And these deals are really a mix of tariffs, as well as these countries planning to invest billions into the U.S. or making these energy or military-related purchases. Of course, we saw that with the EU deal. That was the framework there. But these nearly 200 countries that did not reach a direct trade deal with the U.S. They're going to receive this letter announcing their tariff rate, but there's always a chance we could see more deals announced. Of course, the president does have to take executive action for that to take place, for those tariff rates to go into place. But as I just mentioned, the president announcing the latest extension of these tariff rates on Mexico, Nichole.
Yep, so Mexico's rates have been extended. What is the president saying about another major U.S. trading partner, that is Canada?
Yeah, a lot of questions about our neighbors to the north, Nichole, because they're one of our largest trading partners, and they haven't been able to strike a deal with the U.S. just yet. And the path to a trade deal, actually, with Canada, really uncertain right now, as President Trump taking to social media this morning, stating that Canada is announcing its backing of statehood for Palestine, ultimately make it, quote, very hard to make a trade deal. So an uncertain path forward there. And unless there's a last-minute deal struck, Canada will likely face this tariff rate of around 20 to 30%, although there's really no official rate in place currently. A lot of questions about what our neighbors to the north are going to face in the coming days and weeks. But it's really a busy afternoon here. The president is about to have lunch with the vice president. The White House press secretary, as you mentioned, expected to take the podium in under an hour. And then the president also expected to sign executive orders later this afternoon, Nichole. So keeping it busy here at the White House today.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.